The habit that separates the winners. I have spent years of my life chasing the secrets of success, believing that somewhere, someone must hold the final piece of the puzzle that would unlock all my dreams. Like many of you, I read every book, listened to every talk, and repeated every affirmation. Yet, my life remained a frustrating pattern of short bursts of progress followed by long stretches of disappointment. It was only when I sat alone one night, my mind restless and my heart heavy, that I realized the truth that had always been hidden in plain sight. The truth was so simple, so brutally obvious, that it almost felt like an insult. I did not fail because I lacked talent. I did not fail because I did not want success enough. I failed because I could not do the same thing every single day, no matter how small, no matter how boring, no matter how inconvenient. Discipline. That was the one habit. The one habit that the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, and creators possessed in abundance. The one habit that made up 80% of their success, while the other 20% was talent, luck, timing, or connections. Discipline was the bridge between where I was and where I wanted to go. You see, most people live their lives waiting for inspiration. They say, I'll do it when I feel ready. I'll do it when I'm motivated. But days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, and the perfect moment never arrives. Meanwhile, the few, the 5% who rise above the rest, they do not wait. They act. They do not negotiate with their feelings. They simply do the work. I remember reading in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich that desire is the starting point of all achievement, but desire is useless if it does not translate into daily action. Discipline turns desire into reality. Without discipline, desire is just a fantasy that torments you every night but never feeds you. I tested this truth on myself. I began with the smallest possible act. Every morning, before sunrise, I sat down with my notebook and wrote down exactly what I wanted to accomplish that day. It was painful at first. My mind rebelled. My body wanted more sleep. My excuses sounded reasonable. But I forced myself to sit. Just sit and plan. Then, once I mastered that, I forced myself to act. One small task, then another. Some days it felt pointless. Some days I felt like a fool. But I kept showing up, day after day, week after week. And slowly, I felt something changing inside me. The excuses grew weaker. The resistance lost its power. I realized that I no longer needed motivation because I had discipline. It is discipline that makes you get up and run when it rains. It is discipline that makes you study when your friends are partying. It is discipline that makes you say no to distractions and yes to your future. When you develop this habit, you stop being at the mercy of your moods. You stop being a slave to comfort. You become the master of your own mind. The problem is that most people underestimate how powerful this is. They look for shortcuts. They buy shiny programs that promise overnight riches. They waste years hoping someone else will do the hard work for them. But the truth remains unchanging. 80% of your success depends on your ability to do what needs to be done every single day, even when you don't feel like it. I remember a line I once read: if you only work when you feel like it, you will never be successful. This truth struck me like a bolt of lightning. I realized that my future depended not on my dreams, but on my habits. If my habits were weak, my dreams would stay dreams. But if my habits were strong, my dreams would become reality. So I made a promise to myself to protect this habit at all costs, to guard my discipline like a treasure, to build my day around it, not squeeze it in when it's convenient. Because convenience is the enemy of greatness. Think of every great figure in history, every entrepreneur, artist, inventor. They did not rely on mood swings. They did not sit around waiting for inspiration to strike. They created routines so strong that their results became inevitable. The great secret is not that they were geniuses. The great secret is that they were consistent. When I first began this journey, people laughed at me. They said I was wasting my time. They called me obsessed, boring, too serious. But when my results started to show, those same people called me lucky. They wanted my outcome, but not my habit. They wanted my fruit, but not my roots. Understand this. Everyone wants the glory, but few are willing to pay the daily price. The daily price is not a grand sacrifice once in a lifetime. It is the small sacrifices every single morning when the alarm rings, every single evening when distractions call your name. Today, when people ask me how I changed my life, I tell them this. I did not change my life overnight. I changed my day. And when I changed my day, my life changed itself. The habit that separates you from mediocrity is not hidden in some ancient scroll. It is in your alarm clock, your calendar, your daily planner, and your will to follow through. So if you truly want to be in that 20% who succeed while 80% keep dreaming, build this habit. The habit of daily discipline. The habit of doing what you said you would do long after the excitement is gone. In this chapter, I wanted to remind you, as I reminded myself, that success is not a matter of chance, but of choice. And that choice is made every sunrise, every hour, every small moment when you say, yes, I will show up today. As we move into the next chapter, I will show you how to protect this habit, strengthen it, and turn it into an unstoppable force that will carry you through every obstacle you face. Because once you master discipline, you become unstoppable, not because you never fail, but because you never quit. Turning discipline into an unstoppable force. When I first understood that 80% of my success would come from my discipline, I felt powerful. But knowledge alone does nothing if you don't protect it, feed it, and turn it into an unbreakable habit. So I ask myself, how do I make discipline so strong that it becomes part of who I am? I knew that if discipline remained a chore, I would one day abandon it. I had to transform it from something I forced myself to do into something I could not live without. The first lesson I learned was this. Your environment shapes your discipline more than your willpower ever will. I remember reading about how Napoleon Hill would observe the richest industrialists of his time. He noticed that they built environments that served their goals. Their desks were clean. Their routines were tight. Their circles were small but powerful. They surrounded themselves with reminders of their mission. So I did the same. I cleaned my space. I removed distractions. The TV, the unnecessary apps, the endless notifications. I wrote my goals on paper and pinned them where I would see them every morning and night. My phone stopped being a toy and became a tool. My room stopped being a place to sleep and became a sanctuary for my future. I realized then that most people fail not because they are weak, but because they live in environments that constantly seduce them back into weakness. They sleep next to temptation. They work next to distraction. They keep the door open for failure and then wonder why success never knocks. So the first commandment I gave myself was, guard your environment like a fortress. If my environment did not serve my discipline, I changed it. If someone in my circle weakened my resolve, I distanced myself, not out of hatred but out of love for my future. The second lesson was this: track everything. I began to treat my goals like a scientist treats an experiment. I kept a notebook where I recorded my habits, my wins, my failures, my mood, and my energy. I saw patterns. Which days I felt weak, which times I was strong, what triggered my laziness, what boosted my will. This habit of tracking transformed me. I stopped lying to myself. No more, I think I'm working hard enough. The notebook told me the truth. Numbers don't lie. When I saw that I was wasting 2 hours a day on meaningless scrolling, I could not deny it. So I cut it out, minute by minute. My day slowly became tighter, sharper, more focused. The third lesson was the hardest. Rest is part of discipline, not the enemy of it. Early on, I made the mistake of burning myself out. I mistook exhaustion for hard work. I thought success meant pushing until I collapsed. But exhaustion kills discipline. A tired mind gives in to excuses. A burned-out body rebels. So I learned to rest with purpose. Rest is not lying around mindlessly. Rest is active recovery. Reading to feed the mind, sleeping to repair the body, walking to calm the soul. Rest is discipline in disguise. It keeps the machine sharp so it does not break when you need it most. The fourth lesson was the secret weapon: public commitment. I began telling a trusted few what I plan to do. Not my dreams, but my daily actions. This week, I will write 5 pages every day. This month, I will save 20% of my income. Speaking my commitment out loud made me responsible. I did not want to break my word. I did not want to be the person who talks big but delivers small. Some people fear this. They think if they fail, they will be embarrassed. I used that fear. I turned it into fuel. Better to feel a sting now than a lifetime of regret later. My word became my contract. My friends became my silent judges. My pride became my ally. And then came the final piece. Celebrate small wins. When I first started, the mountain of my goals looked too high. I felt small, powerless. So I broke it down. One good morning, one focused hour, one completed task. And when I did it, I paused. I breathed in the feeling of keeping my promise. I told myself, this is who I am now. This is what I do. The brain loves rewards. Each small celebration wired my mind to crave discipline. It no longer felt like suffering. It felt like identity, like pride, like freedom. Looking back now, I see how these simple rules turned a fragile habit into an unstoppable force. Shape your environment. Track your actions. Rest with intention. Speak your commitments. Celebrate small wins. But none of this works unless you accept this one brutal truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to wake you up at 5 a.m. Nobody will force you to write that book, launch that business, save that money, or build that body. It is you, alone, in that quiet moment when the world is asleep and you face your own excuses. When you master that moment, when you conquer yourself, you conquer everything else. That is why discipline is freedom. It frees you from the prison of your moods, your laziness, your fears. And here's what they never tell you. The stronger your discipline grows, the less effort it takes to keep it alive. One day you will wake up and realize that the things you once hated doing have become the things you cannot imagine living without. The habit that once felt like a burden becomes your greatest weapon. I stand here as proof. I am not a genius. I am not gifted. I am disciplined. That is all, and that is enough. So today, I leave you with this. Ask yourself, what is the one habit you will protect with your life? What is the one promise you will keep no matter how you feel? What is the one small action you will take every day, rain or shine? Because once you answer that, you will no longer be part of the 80% who only dream. You will join the 20% who do. And that will change everything.